Ever wondered why Singapore was expelled from Malaysia? It's a complex tale of politics, ethnicity, and economics. Today, we're diving into the depths of Southeast Asia's modern history, focusing on the pivotal year of 1963. This was the year when the Federation of Malaysia was formed, bringing together the Malayan Peninsula and the Borneo territories. Among these new members was a tiny yet ambitious island at the southern tip of the peninsula, Singapore. This merger was seen as a hopeful new chapter in regional unity and progress. But as we know, this union was not destined to last. A series of political, racial, and economic disputes soon created a rift, leading to a drastic decision that would forever change the course of history for both Malaysia and Singapore. The repercussions are still felt today, shaping the character and destiny of these two nations. So, let's turn back the clock and delve into this fascinating chapter of history. As with many historical fallouts, the seeds of discord between Singapore and Malaysia were sown in politics and economics. In the early 60s, Singapore was led by the charismatic and visionary Lee Kuan Yew, while Malaysia was under the helm of Tunku Abdul Rahman. While both leaders were instrumental in bringing their respective nations to independence, their political ideologies were starkly different. Lee was a strong advocate for a Malaysian Malaysia, a vision that encompassed racial equality and meritocracy. Tunku, on the other hand, held steadfast to a pro-Malay stance, advocating for special rights and privileges for the ethnic Malays. This ideological rift was not just confined to words and debates. It was deeply etched into the policies and systems of both nations. And nowhere was this difference more apparent than in their economic structures. Singapore, a tiny island with no natural resources, had to rely on its strategic location and human capital. Lee Kuan Yew championed a free market economy, encouraging foreign investment and promoting industrialization. He believed that economic growth and prosperity were key to maintaining social stability and harmony. However, the tinderbox was not merely filled with political and economic disagreements. Racial tensions also played a significant role. The ethnic landscape of Singapore and Malaysia became a crucial factor in the growing divide. Singapore, with a Chinese majority population, was a stark contrast to the Malay majority Malaysia. This difference in ethnic composition stirred a pot of unease. The simmering tensions boiled over in the sweltering July of 1964. It was a time of heightened emotion, with the celebration of the Prophet Muhammad's birthday, a significant event in the Muslim calendar. However, the day turned sour as a procession in the Geylang neighborhood of Singapore descended into chaos. A misunderstanding, a spark, and the tinderbox ignited. The streets were filled with fear and violence as communities that had once lived side by side turned against each other. In the following days, the riots spread like wildfire, turning neighborhoods into battlegrounds. The turmoil lasted for several days, with official reports stating that 23 people lost their lives and hundreds were injured. These were days of horror that left a lasting scar on the nation's psyche. The 1964 riots were not an isolated incident. They were a manifestation of the deep-seated tensions that had been brewing beneath the surface. The fragile harmony between the Chinese and Malay communities had been shattered, revealing a chasm that seemed impossible to bridge. The aftermath of the riots further strained relations between Singapore and Malaysia. The violence had exposed the stark differences in the social fabric of the two nations. It was a shocking realization that these issues were far deeper and more complex than just political and economic disagreements. The riots were a stark reminder of the challenges of integrating diverse racial and cultural groups under one national identity. The riots were a shocking realization of the deep-seated issues that could no longer be ignored. And so, amid escalating tensions, came the unexpected, the expulsion of Singapore. The year was 1965, a year that would etch itself indelibly into the annals of both Singaporean and Malaysian history. The political and racial disputes had reached a boiling point, and the solution, as drastic as it was unforeseen, was the expulsion of Singapore from the Federation of Malaysia. In the lead-up to the fateful day of August 9th, the political arena was rife with conflict. The Central Malaysian government, led by the United Malays National Organization, was increasingly at odds with Singapore's People's Action Party. Their philosophical differences, coupled with rising racial tensions, had created a seemingly insurmountable divide. On that historic day, the Malaysian parliament convened and, in a decision that shocked the world, voted 126-0 in favor of Singapore's expulsion. the island city-state was to stand alone, no longer a part of the Malaysian Federation. The reactions from both sides were a complex tapestry of shock, relief, anger, and sadness. The most poignant response, however, came from Singapore's then Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew. In a televised speech that has since become a landmark moment in Singapore's history, he expressed his profound sadness and disappointment at the separation. His eyes filled with tears, he declared, "For me, it is a moment of anguish. All my life, my whole adult life, I have believed in merger and unity of the two territories." Yet, in the midst of this turmoil, there was also a sense of determination and resolve. The people of Singapore, led by their tenacious Prime Minister, were ready to face the challenges of independence head-on. They had been thrust into an uncertain future, but they refused to be daunted. With that, a new, independent nation was born out of a mixture of hope, fear, and uncertainty. In the aftermath of the expulsion, both Singapore and Malaysia embarked on their separate paths. Singapore, once a fledgling nation with an uncertain future, rose from the ashes to become a global financial hub. Its success story is a testament to its resilience and adaptability, transforming challenges into opportunities. Meanwhile, Malaysia continued to grapple with its own set of challenges and triumphs, evolving in its unique way. The two nations, born out of the same struggle, found their own identities and destinies, each shaping its own narrative of progress and development. In this journey, we've traversed the rocky terrains of political and economic disputes, navigated through the tempestuous seas of racial tensions and riots, and witnessed the dramatic expulsion that forever altered the course of these nations. So that's the intriguing story of why Singapore was kicked out of Malaysia, a tale of clashing visions, racial tensions, and a desire for sovereignty. It's a testament to how historical events can shape nations and their trajectories.